Thank you guys for coming today. Today we're going to talk about our impact, our motivational impact on others. My name is Munir, and I'm going to talk you through this presentation today. Now, my experience, I've worked with kids, families for almost 10 years. And what we used to do was we used to find these kids who were delayed, not walking, talking at the right age, and parents who were stressed out. And beyond that, there were kids who had autism, Down syndrome, and the parents didn't know what to do. They were demoralized, and they didn't know where to start or where to go. And motivation was definitely gone, because the child that they had these dreams and hopes for, suddenly those dreams and hopes changed. Now you just want your child to walk or talk. And not only did we have to teach them the skills, but we also had to teach them how to keep going after they reach that first goal, and how their motivation affected the child's motivation. And my job was technically to teach those developmental skills, but beyond that, most of my sessions were spent counseling and talking to these families and parents to make sure they were ready to move forward, because that was always the hardest. So that's where I come from, and now I'm here to help you guys use these skills in your lives, in your professional life and personal life, hopefully, to make a better impact when you're associating with others, and make sure the goals you have to achieve in your team are achievable. Make sure your team is functional. So what we're going to start with is our forms. We have a little questionnaire here. In the top part, in the who box, I want you to take a moment and write down a couple of names. Write down the name of somebody who you can actually work really well with. In a good situation, you're working on a project, who do you work really well with? I want you to write down another name now. I want you to write down a name of somebody who you work really well with in a bad situation. You know, everything's stacked against you, deadline's coming up, and you actually managed to get things done with this person. Now I want you to write down the name of somebody, even in the best situation, you can't work with this person. It just doesn't work. You try, and things don't get done. So we're going to skip the names, saying them out loud for a second, but think about how that person might work. What kind of feelings you get when you're talking to that person about that project. Does it seem like they're cooperative? The very first one. The one where it's good situation, getting things done. When you talk to them about what you're working on, does it seem like they're listening to you? We'll start there. Yes, no?
Yes.
Voices? Okay. Now about the second person. Bad situation, work well together. Does it seem like this person listens to you better?
Yes.
Now, does this person's work style, is it different than yours? Is it exactly the same as yours?
It's different.
It's different.
Okay.
But you work well together. Now the last person. Good situation, nothing gets done. Right? Is that person's work style similar to yours? Different than yours? Different.
Very
But not in a good different. Because the last one was also different. But it was good different, right? So what's the difference between those two situations? So that's what we're going to talk about in a second. Okay? So I want you to take a moment. There's 10 questions. I'm going to give you a minute or two. Go through those 10 questions. Now, just mark down the bubble that corresponds best with that red question. Okay? We'll get to the totaling in just a second. I did mine earlier. It's all ready to go. Bright red so you guys can see it better. So we'll come back to scoring them in just a second. Let's talk about why it's important to know what motivates you and how it affects the people around you, right? So when we associate with somebody, just our presence has an impact on them, right? And how you present yourself has an impact on how they present themselves back to you. And we feed off each other. And so what are some of the impacts or benefits to managing how we affect the people around us, right? Confidence. If you walk into a situation and you're not confident, the person around you, what are they gonna think? You don't know what you're talking about, right? You know, we were talking previously about the fake it till you make it kind of thinking. If you walk into a presentation and you know what you're talking about, or at least you give the impression that you know what you're talking about, people are more likely to listen to you, right? Like that job interview you were talking about, right? So, confidence. Second, improved relationships. If people already have that confidence in you, it's going to improve how they're going to respond to you, right? And as we go further down, this nice little list we have here, greater empathy. People who have that feedback coming in from outside also get more of a empathy or sympathy, right? People are more likely to say, well, you know, this person's trying. Let's give them a little bit of chance to keep working on it, getting better at it. Let's give them a chance, right? When somebody doesn't seem like they're trying, what do? We say, well, they're not going to work. They're not putting in the effort. So we back away from them, right? That goes back to that feedback. We get better feedback. So then we come back to the team, which means if the team is working better together, things get done. Like you said, the team you work best in, those people we talked about, the team that was a little more different, a little bit different, but balanced, worked better, right? But the team that was just different, like somebody tossed a bunch of things together out of the fridge, it didn't go so well, right? Just like mayonnaise and chocolate chip cookies don't work. You can't take the stuff out of the fridge and just toss it together, right? But chocolate chip cookies and peanut butter would. You put some thought into it, they're very different, but they work, right? So how does your style affect the people around you, right? Let's figure out what your styles are. So what you're going to do is you're going to take each of those columns. See how there's 3 columns of the bubbles, right? Each of those bubbles are worth 10 points. So you just count straight down that first column, right? Count the number of bubbles, and we'll multiply that by 10. And then put in that very first bubble at the bottom in the totals. Yeah, so put 30 there. You understand? You've got 10, 20. Put 20 there. And then next one you've got 10, 20, 30, 40. Yeah, 40 there. And then the last bubble. Goes just a little further than we needed to each time. There we go. Okay, so there's 4 styles in general. Did you do all the columns?
Oh, do you do all of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do the center column, same thing.
So 1, 2, 3,
30. And then the last column is 30 as well. Did you get yours done?
yes.
So there's 3 styles, 3 basic styles of motivation that we have, right? You have the first one. This is the carer. The person who takes care of it. They want harmony. They want to make sure everything gets done, everybody's taken care of, everybody's happy, right? The team is happy working together. Next one, we have the drivers. These are the people who push the team. They want to get things done. They want the challenge, they want it done, they want it done right? Quick, perfect. You have the professional. They want it done right, like the driver, but they need it done well. These are the ones that come back, and even the last day, that PowerPoint presentation has to get another check, another review. Then you've got the adapter. This is the combination, a balance between a few of these, right? And so, where do you guys think you fall? Where do you think you fall, Boogie?
I feel like probably driver.
Driver?
Yeah, like
Okay.
to do things but just get it done once, not worry about it. Just
Okay.
professional.
Professional?
Driver.
Driver?
Driver as well.
Driver? All families, drivers. Well, let's see how it is, because your scores looked a little different from each other's. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's start with the first bubble. What was the high score that you had? First bubble, second bubble, third bubble? Just hold up your fingers. Okay. So your first bubble, what's your highest score?
Yeah, it's both.
A split score?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
You guys actually had individual high scores. Okay. So, first bubble, right? What do you think that is, Boogie?
I'm not sure.
It's the care,
Oh, okay.
right? And that kind of shows. What kind of field are you looking into going into?
Working with kids.
Working with kids. You want to be a therapist. Working with people, right? And then, it doesn't seem like anybody's a driver here. But then we have two professionals, right? You guys, the highest score you had was threes, right? And so, the professional. Things need to be done, they need to be done right, they need to be double checked, right? And then Willie, you had a split score. So where do you think that falls?
it would be, I believe it would be adapter.
Adapter. So your combination. I actually had a split score too. Same one as you. Somewhere between driver and professional.
Yeah.
But my carer score was actually really high as well. So I got a 40 here, and I got 30 in the other two. So I'm actually very well balanced all across, right? And let's go to the next thing over. So let's look at Willie's score a little bit better. So we went ahead and did the actual scoring. Okay. So let's check out Willie's score a little bit better. Driver and professional, right? A strategist. Want to use rational thinking to solve the problems and get the best solution. You guys think that's Willie? The last one, strategist.
Probably not.
No?
Sort of.
Yeah?
Not so rational.
How about you guys? Did you guys have any other ties?
Yeah, I had a tie on.
You had a
I
tie?
did not.
So what was your tie? The last two?
Yes.
So your score is pretty much like mine then.
Yeah. 40, 30.
Your score is exactly like mine. We told you we fit better together when it comes to those things. So we're here. We've got the strategist going on, but first that care part takes precedence, right? We want to make sure people who are working in our team are happy and things are moving forward together. And then once everything is set, we've got to make sure everything's done right. You know? If people aren't working well, things aren't going to get done. That's how you feel, right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Okay. So what does that mean for us? Why does this all make a difference? Well, it comes back to those first three people we talked about, right? Now, I see you guys wrote some of the names of the people that are already here, right? You guys wrote each other's names.
I know.
So, that first one, right? You work well together, everything is going well. What happens with that first person when things stop going well? Right? When the time starts crunching, like you wrote the top one, you wrote your mom. So everything is going well and things are on track. Your mom is good, right?
Yeah.
But when the pressure starts,
Then we both were at each other's necks.
and see, I'm like that with my mother too. I'm sure you guys have seen it at some point, you know? When everything is going well, working with my mom, working on something, everything's awesome. But as soon as time starts crunching,
It's stressful.
because my mom, she's the driver, okay? She's not so meticulous like the professional, but she wants to get things done, right? And your mom is too. I know your mom.
She's the same.
And so when they start pushing, then we kind of, the carer part takes it, right? And we want to make sure that our mom is going to get things done properly. And they're okay, because they start freaking out, right?
Yeah.
And they cause us stress.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure their stuff is getting done properly. And so this stuff goes away for a little bit, and that carer comes in, and they don't like that.
Yeah.
Because they're drivers. They want to get things done now, and now we're stopping them. Why? Because we want to make sure they're good.
Yes.
And so it doesn't work. So we have to figure out how to make it work. Now you probably figured it out in some situations, right? You put that care stuff to the side for your mom first, and you do this. And once things are done and taken care of, then you go back to the care and make sure she's okay. And it works better.
Yeah.
Right? So even with the person you work really well with in a good situation, that dynamic changes. When you're under stress, you might shift over. You know, you might not be your first choice when you're under stress. Or you, being a balance between two, you might shift from one side to the other depending on how your stress is. Do you have any questions? Any thoughts on how we can use this more in our routine, in your next project, next presentation, school?
Definitely more like group projects.
Yeah.
And like group school. This really comes into play.
Find better partners, or if they're assigned, figure out how to manage that team better.
Yes.
And see, nobody's one thing. Everybody had scores in every section. Nobody had just a straight one shot. Now, me and her were a little bit more balanced. He had to split between two more, but even your
It's
scores,
50.
yeah, they're not completely blank in one area.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit of everything there. So for you, you've got actually two pretty high scores, a 40 and a 50, right? And so that comes in, that care and professional. So you want to make sure the people around you make good choices, and they're thoughtful and considerate and they're thorough, but you want to make sure they're doing what's best for them too, right? I bet you had some serious conversations with your sister before she left for college. Yeah. So I hope this is useful and it carries forward in your routine and makes helps you guys make better choices. Any questions? Any concerns? Any comments?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your help.